Man, you won't believe the treasures that I stumbled upon this week. From a Masters of the Universe gem that's nearly impossible to find in the wild. I've never come across it in the wild. To action figures from one of the biggest 1980s blockbusters, and not one, but two epic movie monster finds. This week's haul is absolutely legendary. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Burf, and it's 5 Thrift Store Friday! Yes, it's 5 Thrift Store Friday, the happiest day of the week. And in this episode, I stumbled upon a Masters of the Universe gem that you just never see out in the wild. I mean, in all my years, I've never seen it in a thrift store. I've never seen it in a flea market. I've never seen it at a toy show. I've never seen it even like in a vintage toy store. It's quite the gem. Plus, I found some incredible action figures from a classic 1980s blockbuster that we all know and love. And I even picked up not one, but two iconic movie monsters, like I said. These movie monsters will have you drooling, especially if you're a movie monster fan. I'm excited for today's adventure. I hope you are too. If you are, hit that like button and let's roll out.
Out of the thrift store, looking for toys galore. My name is Burf and this is my turf. I'm straight out of the thrift store.
Okay, so check these out. I was just over in the VHS section. I'm gonna get this Magic Ring by Tom and Jerry. I don't have that. Tarzan 2, this one I wouldn't normally buy it because I'm not real big into the Disney movie stuff, but this one's like reselling for like 20 bucks. So apparently it was part of like the Disney Kids Club thing or something. And then I'm gonna get this for some of my knockoff like He-Man guys. That's a cool looking Hulk. You know, I've said this many times, but I don't collect a lot of Marvel stuff, but I do have like a Hulk collection, a Thing, and a Spider-Man. Those are like the three main ones, and a Superman. Those are the three main ones. The bag's only $1.99. It's the only thing I really want in it, so I'll pick it up. I just think it's kind of neat looking. There's a Batman. And maybe some busted up Transformers in there too. Yeah, I'll pass on that. And we've got a decapitated action figure. I don't know, his head could be in there somewhere, but I'm not really seeing it. What is that? Oh, it's an Iron Man. But he's missing an arm, and I don't even know if that arm actually goes to him. He's missing one arm, and his other arm is questionable. Oh, these things are kind of neat. Crazy cubes. Oh, wow, look, there's a whole bunch of them. Not something I would normally pick up, but I don't know. Maybe not. Am I just adding more junk to my junk pile at home? Probably. But I'm kind of fascinated by them. This really isn't anything, but I just think it's interesting that this little figure, I see this castle quite a bit on, over the years. I've seen it in different thrift stores, but I've never actually seen the figures that go along with it. So he was actually just sitting down inside here. I'll put him back in, but the fact that he's even there is interesting. Oh man, I feel like we haven't seen a beefcake pony in a while. Beefcake, beefcake, oh, I'm a big beefcake. Oh my God, Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories. Are these the original? I hope so. The ones from the 80s. This used to come on like Sunday nights back in the day. And Mark Hamill was actually in one of them. And he was a toy collector that ended up becoming like a homeless person, but saved all his toys. And then ended up becoming like a multi-millionaire by selling all of his vintage toys. All right, I don't know, did they redo this series at some point? I don't know, but I'll probably have to pick that up. That's pretty sweet. Oh look, I got the Cosby Show, season 6. Yeah, I'll probably pass on that, but man, I used to love that show. Anything else good here? Great Escape. I'm just looking for some of the TV show stuff. Betty Crocker's Ultimate Bisquick. Oh, look, somebody's got some favorite recipes tagged in there. Oh, I just found this Scooby-Doo and the Vampires. Got some crusty stuff on it. I'll need to clean that up. That's the thing about thrifting, man. You find a lot of stuff that's got crust. Well, this one's interesting. It's a Tim Burton film. I love Tim Burton movies. Johnny Depp as Ed Wood. Never heard of that. All right, I'm gonna grab that too. What do they want? $1.99. Yeah. All right, let's grab it. Oh, check him out. It's a McDonald's Happy Meal Kermit the Frog. I think that's one of the Christmas ones. All right, gang, we're off to a fun start. I picked up quite a few things at this first stop. So I ended up getting some VHS. I got Tom and Jerry's Magic Ring. I also picked up the Johnny Depp Ed Hollywood by Tim Burton, which I didn't even know this movie existed. I'd never heard of it, but you know, I don't think I've ever been disappointed by a Tim Burton film, so this should be interesting to watch. And then I also picked up this Tarzan Disney Kids Club movie, I guess. I guess the only way you could get this Tarzan 2, it's actually Tarzan 2, the only way you could get it is if you belong to some sort of Disney club. So this thing's actually worth a little bit of money, which is super cool. I also picked up this Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories DVD set. This is epic, man. I remember watching this as a kid on Sunday nights, and they had some really, really good storylines. In fact, there was one with Mark Hamill where he ended up like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, like he got kicked out of his home or he ended up like leaving home, and he basically had no money and he ended up being like a bum, but he had saved all of his childhood toys and, you know, stuff from his childhood, and ultimately it ended up being worth like millions of dollars, and he became like a millionaire and then a philanthropist or something like that. Really cool storyline, man. Like he like meets this troll that like grants him some wishes or something like that. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember watching that one specifically when I was a kid, and there were some really there were some other good stories in that whole series. So if you've never seen Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories, I highly recommend it. And then I snagged this little Hulk figure. I just thought he was awesome. As I've said before, I'm not a big Marvel guy or a DC guy, but there are a handful of like those types of superhero action figures that I collect, and that is Hulk, The Thing, and Spider-Man, and also Superman. Superman would be the DC character, but those are pretty much the only types of figures that I do collect, and I don't even have like a huge collection of this stuff, but I just thought this Hulk looked super awesome and I couldn't resist. And then last but certainly not least, I picked up this amazing like Imperial knockoff tiger. Like this thing isn't made by Imperial, but it kind of reminds me of those Imperial dinosaurs and dragons and animals and stuff like that they made, that they did so well. So it kind of reminds me of that. So when I saw this thing, I was like, oh my God, this would fit in perfectly with my 5.5 knockoff and bootleg fantasy figures. This thing would also go well with like 5.5 He-Man, you know, vintage He-Man. It would go really well with that as well, or even your modern He-Man figures. But I think it's better suited for the knockoffs and the bootlegs, man. So really, really pleased to be adding this piece to my collection. In fact, I'll probably try and find a saddle for it. I think Imperial made some saddles for some of the animals and creatures that they made. So I'll go on eBay and see if I can find something and get them all saddled up, you know, that way my knockoff and bootleg fantasy figures have a smooth ride. All right, up next, we're gonna go hit up Plaza Thrift, AKA Craptastic Sam's, and see what kind of goodies they got. So I'm not sure if this is, nah. Okay, so we've got some parts in here for like, looks like an aircraft carrier. There's a tank. And then there's some of like these little figures. You can see his feet hanging out there. There's a few of them in there. Like there's one. Those look like vintage toys. I only want $2.92 for the bag, so I'm gonna get it and see what the heck that's all about. There's a couple more little figures right there. Okay, I'm not real sure what these are either. This has like a little submarine here in the back. It looks like an older toy line. There's this vehicle here too. They want $7 for this bag. I'm not sure if all these other parts actually go to it. There's an old train in there. I don't know. Should I get it? I don't know what that is. Okay, here's a bag with some old stuff in it. It's got some viewfinders with some discs. And then we got this down here too. This is old. I've seen this before. I'm trying to remember what these things are called. I was just looking at these discs, and we got She-Ra, Princess of Power. I saw there was like a Scooby-Doo. I think that one right there is a Scooby-Doo. Oh, no, that's My Little Pony. Maybe it was on the other side. Yeah, I'm gonna get this bag. It's $7, but there's some cool stuff on those discs. Plus, this might be maybe strawberry shortcake. It's like some sort of bicycle. And then the Mickey train. Where's the booze? Yeah, that's a fun bag. Fun bags. We all know what fun bags are. Yeah, probably I'm gonna grab that. That one's only $2.92. $6 to $7 for that. I guess I'm gonna get this. These are definitely vintage toys. I just don't know what they go to. And then this thing right here. Gosh, what is that called? Like little woodsies or something like that? I think maybe what they're called. This is like a little house. There's like some little chipmunks, I think, that like actually figures that go along with that. We're gonna go check the other baggy section here in a second. Maybe the figures are in there. No, maybe I'll get lucky and find some of those woodsy figures in here. Oh, look at that dude. It's like some sort of dinosaur. That is a creepy looking dude. Let's see. Can we find any vintage toys in the baggies? Nope, nothing there. What's down here? Nothing there either. No, I don't think we're gonna have any luck. Check it out, it's like Noah's Ark. And we got some of the animals. That's definitely, pretty sure that's vintage. Oh, it even has like Noah's wife there or something. I wonder if Noah's in there somewhere. I also saw a Cabbage Patch Kid. Little walkie-talkie. And we want $2.92. I might get it just for the Noah's Ark. Oh, here's some more Cabbage Patch stuff. Some more Cabbage Patch. We've got some accessories in here. They're like shoes and stuff like that. I could probably resell those. Got a little football player figure, whoever this little girl is. Oh, a little Spider-Man. And what is this thing? It looks like it's some sort of like gorilla transformer, maybe? There's some whatchamacallit Toy Story stuff in there too. What is this like his head? Oh no, that's I don't know what that is. I think that might be like a Beast Wars Optimus Primal, I think. I don't know if it's complete or at least, you know, not necessarily complete, but if all the pieces are there. I mean, if the pieces are there and he actually transforms, I don't need the weapons or anything that go with it. It's kind of cool though. Yeah, that's a vintage Optimus Primal. I'm almost certain of it, unless it's the reproduction, but it looks kind of older. All right, I'm gonna take a risk on it. The bag's only $4, $3.93. I think it's worth it to see if it's there, you know? Well, this thing is from 1996. It's from a company called New Ray. It's just the big barn. There's like tractors and all kinds of farm equipment that would normally come with it. It's neat. I'm not gonna get it, but always fun to see stuff from the 90s. I might be mistaken, but that could be like a Cabbage Patch Kid space helmet. It says astronaut on top there. I'm gonna have to look into that. Oh, I was right. It is a Cabbage Patch Kids astronaut helmet. These could even be like little bags that went with other Cabbage Patch. I saw one sold recently for $7, but the doll itself is going for quite a bit of money. And there's a plush section like right over there. So I'm gonna wander over there and see if maybe we can find the Cabbage Patch that it goes to. All right, well, we're rolling the dice here. Maybe we'll get lucky. Or maybe we'll strike out for a second time here in the store, since we were trying to find those little woodsy figures and that was a bust. I don't think I'm seeing any Cabbage Patch here. And this shelf's pretty bare. All right, well, I'm gonna put this back. It would have been cool to have found the Cabbage Patch it went with, but it went $5 for the bag, and this thing only sold for $7, so I would get it because I would want to try and flip it if it were worth some decent money, but it's not. These shoes, I saw 3 pairs of shoes sold for like $50, so the $3.93 for the whole bag here is a good deal. Okay, so most of this stuff I probably shouldn't have bought. It just ended up being a bunch of like vintage toys that had missing parts. They were incomplete. Some pieces were broken. Like, it, you know, what most people would call junk, you know. But I've got this thing where when I see a vintage toy in a thrift store, oftentimes I have a hard time just leaving it behind, and I don't know why. I don't know what causes that. But as a result, oftentimes I buy things and bring it home, and it just goes into like a incomplete junk pile, you know. But I ended up picking up a little bit of everything. I got some Cabbage Patch toys. I got some Cabbage Patch Kid accessories. I got a vintage Beast Wars Optimus Primal, but he's like missing his gorilla head. So, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, you know, but so that I know what I'm going to do with it. I actually have them listed up on Facebook Marketplace right now, incomplete, 4 parts, hoping that somebody will buy it. Somebody did say they wanted to buy it, but it turns out they lived in Austin. So they were like, oh, I didn't know you were in Dallas, you know. So, but anyway, so I'm still trying to sell that. I also ended up with, this little thing right here. This was kind of cool. Little Woodies. I thought they were called Woodsies. I think they're called Little Woodies. So they ends up like when you open this thing up, it's like a little carrying case, but it's also like a little house. And there's a bunch of like little squirrels and chipmunks and stuff like that that go along with it. I actually looked them up on eBay, thinking about buying a few of them, but like they're actually kind of expensive for like the family of 4. It's like $50 or something like that. Now, something I did think was cool out of these bags, something I didn't really consider to be junk, was this Expanders set by Galoob. Again, with my all-time favorite toy company, Galoob. I've been finding a lot of stuff from Galoob lately. So I ended up finding these Expanders, this little boat, and it came with all of these awesome little figures. There's probably a dozen or so, I guess, maybe there. Pretty awesome. Even has in the back, it's got like a little boat that goes in the back. And the cool thing is it's got these little button mechanisms that when you press them, the the boat expands, it opens up. I guess that's why they call them expanders. But I thought this was really cool. So this wasn't something I considered to be junk. But the real gem was the Viewmaster. Man, like, and not just the Viewmaster itself, but the discs that came along with it. There was some fun titles in there. There was like My Little Pony, there was She-Ra, Princess of Power, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. And that's the stuff I was talking about earlier. Like, you just don't see those discs with these titles in them out in the wild, especially the Masters of the Universe and the Princess of Power. In fact, let's take a look at some of those slides. All right, gang, up next, we're heading off to the Goody Wheel. What you got for me today, Goody Wheel? What you got for me today? I just found one of these somewhere else. They want $5 for it. I'm thinking about getting a second one. All right, let's see, what do we got? I got any goodies? Any goodies at the Goody Wheel? Oh, no way. Oh, wow, dude, that is cool. Figures, $14.99, but I'll pay up on that. That is, that's pretty awesome. That is cool. I've been wanting some Bill and Ted figures. I was gonna buy some of the vintage ones, but these will do for now. That's cool. Let's see what else do we got here. I always feel like, I think this guy looks like those, what are they? The evil horde robots. I can't remember what they're called. Let's see what else. Oh, we got like a little wooden, whoops, little wooden train, space shuttle. What's this right here? Are these like micro machines? Oh yeah, Transformer micro machines? What do they want for that? $10.99. Dang, I'm just like dropping everything around here today. Yeah, I don't think I want to pay $11 for that, unless that's worth way more, but man, prices are high today. Yeah, this thing is selling for like $17 plus shipping, but even the card is way better condition on eBay than this one. If that were like $5.99, I'd probably get it, but I'm not spending $11 on that. Anything behind here? Oh, we got a Godzilla knockoff mech back there, Mecha Godzilla. Oh, we got a Skylanders. They probably want a fortune for that too. It was originally $29.81. Let's see what they're asking for that. $14.99. Oh, we got a T-Rex from Jurassic World. Got a white football. What's that say? Team issue. It's really sticky, nasty. And it looks like we've got a Playmobil jet plane with some figures. There's Zod. This would be like cool for like a little diorama or something like that. I can almost see like the cowboys of Moo Mesa hanging out here. Oh look, there's even like a cow right there, a bull. Oh, that's like a Batcopter. Is that for like Imaginext or? There's a Lego box. Duplo Lego, or maybe it's Duplo and it's compatible with Lego. I don't know. Oh, look at this. Battle Cry of Freedom. Oh, it's like a game or something? Defend Woods. What year is this from? What do they want? $5.99 for that. I'm gonna have to look that up. Look at this. Somebody like dumped their train collection. $12.99. $14.99. Yeah, they're all about $14.99. This, the Lewis Marks Company. Oh, look at that. Wow. That's an old train, man. Lewis Marks, dang. Well, they only want $24.99 for this, and I was just looking at it, and it's kind of all over the place, but it's selling anywhere from like $100 up to $200. But I don't know if this actually works or not, and if, you know, what the price is, you know, how the prices compare to what works to what doesn't work. That's actually made out of tin. That's cool, man. That is super cool. Okay, so I just looked up this engine by itself, and I ended up finding some other box sets that only sold for like $30, $40. I think it's pretty cool, man, but I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on it. Well, here's a bag full of like little rubber cows. These are definitely old too. So there's a baggie there, but here's a box. I guess they originally came in a box like this. And here's like another little box of railroad bumpers. This is the big 2-stall engine house. Oh, cool. How much they want for that? $17.99. So there's the inside of it. I wonder if this thing's worth anything. Looks like it might still have the instructions. Oh yeah. Oh, this thing's selling for like 60 to 75 bucks. Not bad. Wow, look at this thing. That is sick, man. It even has the remote control. I just don't know if it actually works. It's pretty scuffed up on the bottom. $12.99. I saw where people were trying to sell them for about 50, 60 bucks, but I don't think any have actually been sold. But man, that is pretty cool, man. I've never seen that before. Didn't even know it existed. Well, all right, man. We got Family Ties Season 1. So I'll take a look through here. Maybe I can find some of the other seasons. That'd be cool. Man, what am I thinking sometimes? Like, I honestly, like, sometimes when I go back and I rewatch the videos when I'm editing and stuff like that, I'm like thinking, like, what the fuck were you thinking, man? Like, why would you not throw down $25 on a Marks train set? Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, like, you just, in the previous store, you just dropped 30 bones on junk. And then you've got something like that, and you're like, oh, I don't know, it doesn't work. You know, you start, these are the things I tell myself in the store to rationalize why I won't buy something. Well, it doesn't work, so it's not really worth the money. And, you know, I saw some sold for like $100, $150, $200, but then like some sold for $30, so I don't want to take a risk on it. You know, it's like, you guys see it. You see it all play out in real time, man. So, but anyway, I should have got the Marks train set. I really regret that. I did pick up some of the little cows, the ones that were in the box and the loose ones. So I did get those because they do sell for some decent money. So I will probably resell those. I also got the board game. I've got this Civil War board game. It's still sealed, and like in that sealed condition, it's worth like 40, 50 bucks. So I figured, heck, why not, man? You know, I like the artwork on it, the cover art. So I got that. And then also I picked up this most excellent Bill and Ted's pack, 2-pack, man. 2-pack, not Tupac, 2-pack. Let's take a look at it. So if you guys remember, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure came out in 1989, and it quickly became like this cult classic because it was just so much fun, and it was lighthearted, and it made you laugh. The movie follows these two lovable slackers, Bill and Ted, as they travel through time in a phone booth to gather historical figures for their history presentation. It was a huge hit at the box office, and it led to a whole phenomenon. I mean, there was a Saturday morning cartoon, action figures, all sorts of merch. And then a couple of years later, we got the sequel, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which continued their adventures. And of course, we can't forget that after all these years, they finally came out with their third movie, which was Bill and Ted Face the Music. That came out in 2020. It was such a fun and nostalgic trip. The girls and I just watched it for the first time a couple of months ago. And it really brought everything full circle, in my opinion. And now, after all these years of loving Bill and Ted, I finally got my hands on these action figures. I've been eyeing these ones for a while. I remember seeing them at Target a couple of years ago, but they were like around $50 or something like that, and I just couldn't justify it. So finding them now for just $15 feels like destiny. It's the perfect way to celebrate the legacy of Bill and Ted. All right, up next, we're gonna head off to Thrift Giant, old thrifty pants, and see if we can keep the ball rolling over there. I will tell you, this is where I pick up the first of my 2 movie monster pickups. What do we got here? Oh yeah, we got that Jeff Dunham peanut guy for $2.99. I feel like he's probably worth more than $2.99. Are there any more here in Plushville? I'm not seeing any more, but I need to look this guy up just to see if he's worth something. Yeah, this dude's selling for like 60 bones, man. For $2.99, that's a no-brainer. All right, well, we got a dragon. That's fun. Looks like we got a sword. Oh, what's this? What is this? Oh, hell yeah. That is awesome, man. What's the price on that? Oh, there's no price. I don't know if this, some of the Goodwills around here won't sell it to you if there's not a price. So I might have to fix that. Let's see if there is any other goodies like that, man. That was pretty awesome. Some stuff might be just kind of buried back in here, you know? As a thrifter, you would think I would look deep into the shelves more often, but oftentimes I don't. I've probably missed quite a few things over the years. Oh, there's a cool cat. Not a Billy Bass, but a cool cat. And let's see, what's down in here? I thought those were Rugrats for a second. I think this dude goes to like a Hot Wheels playset or something. What's this? Some sort of Thor figure? Got this Spider-Man thingamadoo. Oh man, this little dollhouse is really cute. Little Fisher-Price dollhouse. Man, my Smurfs could move in there and have a nice upgrade from their little mushroom huts. Oh man, for a minute I was so excited. Ernest goes to camp, Ernest scared stupid, Ernest goes to jail, and then when you look on the inside, it's not those DVDs at all. That sucks. Man, what a bummer that those Ernest DVDs were not in the case. That sucks, man, because I would have definitely watched those this weekend. But that kind of gets me thinking. I think my buddy Vinny might have picked up some Ernest DVDs recently for me on one of his thrift store adventures. Vinny's from the Chicago area, and we kind of help each other out. Like we, you know, buy each other and then, you know, trade basically VHS and DVDs and stuff like that. And he also picks up vintage toys for me too, because he knows I like that stuff. So I'll have to double check with him. I think he did pick up some Ernest DVDs for me. But I also picked up this awesome Jeff Dunham Peanuts figure, still sealed in the bag. Like I said in the store, this thing sells for like $60. I'm not a big Jeff Dunham fan. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think he's talented and all that stuff. I'm just not a ventriloquism comedy type of person. So I really don't have any use for it. and I have no attachment to it, so it's just either gonna go up on eBay or Marketplace, and I'm gonna try and make a little extra kiggity cash. And then I also picked up this epic Godzilla figure along with this little dragon figure, which I thought was pretty cool. But the Godzilla, man, the Godzilla is awesome. Definitely got me jazzed up when I saw this. So let's take a little closer look at him. Man, how freaking awesome is this dude? Now, I'm no expert on Godzilla. I don't claim to be by any means, but according to my research, this design is from the Heisei era of Godzilla movies, specifically the iconic look from the late 80s and early 90s. This Godzilla made his debut in Godzilla vs. Biollante in 1989, and then continued through films like Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and Godzilla vs. Destroya. He's known for his more muscular build, fierce expression, and those distinctive large dorsal plates on his back. This specific Godzilla is a must-have for any Godzilla fan. All right, gang, here we are, the last stop of the day, and where I pick up movie monster number 2. So it actually ends up being another Godzilla, and it ends up being a Godzilla that I found a couple of months ago, but this one is actually still in the box, and it's pretty freaking awesome. I love this thing. Sodom and Gomorrah. And speaking of Sodom and Gomorrah, here we've got Gay TV, the movie. Man, the stuff you find at the thrift. I have no idea who that guy is, but he's got some sort of like space helmet on, and it looks like he might have like an alien face or something. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can figure out what's going on here. Ah, he's a Fortnite figure. Okay. He's neat looking. Oh, check that out, man. That is awesome. This is the smoke breathing, the fire breathing Godzilla. These things were like selling for like $45 at Target and Walmart. They want $15.99 for it. I looked it up on eBay. They're still selling for $35, $40. Yeah, I think I got to get it for that price. All right, so if y'all remember, a couple of months ago, I found this guy at Thrift Giant. Unfortunately, he didn't have his remote control at the time, but he was just so cool. I couldn't just leave him there. I had to have him. I've seen this guy at Walmart and Target for, the in between the $45 and $55 range. And I was like, man, for, I think, what did I pay for him? I want to say $10 or less. Just to have the Godzilla itself, I was like, that's worth it to me. But I ended up getting a remote control for him. I actually found one for $5. So that was awesome. So for $15, I got this Godzilla, this fire-breathing Godzilla. He actually blows like smoke out his mouth. We're gonna light him up in just a minute so you guys can see him in action. But I got him for $15 total between what I paid for the remote and what I paid for him. So to get this guy still in the box for $15, that was an absolute no-brainer for me. This thing is awesome. So now I've got this loose version and I've got this version I can keep in the box, and who knows, over time, he may go up in value. I just will never understand why people throw stuff like this away, man. Like why they just donate it off to the thrift store, because this thing is just freaking awesome. All right, let's see this guy in action. All right, gang. So I have filled him up with water. So there's like a little plug right here that you open up and you can kind of see the water down in there. So it doesn't take a lot of water, just a little bit. In fact, I had to clean up the countertop when I was done. So I got the girls here in the kitchen with me. They're standing behind me. They're gonna see this guy in action for the first time. So what we're gonna do, here's the remote. So it looks like a Godzilla foot. He's got a little button under his tail here. There it is. Oops. Right there. So let's turn him. Okay. Yep, so I'm gonna have the girls turn off the light. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna press down on this. And he actually locks. All right, you can see he makes like, you know, you can hear the pounding of his feet, right? So now we're gonna make him roar. So we gotta push this button right here. Could you imagine hearing that at night off in the distance? All right, and then this makes him walk again. So we don't want to get him too close to the edge. All right, now my favorite part. This is so freaking sick. This is so sick, man. Watch this. Isn't that awesome? Oh, we gotta do it again. I can keep him? He is cool. He's probably one of the coolest Godzillas I've ever picked up, man. Like, he is sick. Well, hey gang, that's all I got for you on this 5 Thrift Store Friday. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you did, do me a favor and hit the like button. It helps me out. It helps my channel grow. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications because I got a lot more great adventures coming your way. In fact, if you want to watch more 5 Thrift Store Friday videos just like this, then check out this next video.